Okay, the last section is about kites and trapezoids. So in a kite, opposite or consecutive sides are congruent, which we have over here. One diagonal bisects the other angle. So JL bisects KM so that these two are congruent. And then one pair of opposite angles are congruent, and diagonals bisect to form a 90-degree angle. So you use that information to solve for x, find missing angle measures. So in these two, we know these two sides are equal because of these marks right here. So we're going to set 2x plus 1 equal to 3x minus 5. So x equals 6. And then down here, you're going to set 2y plus 1 equal to y plus 13. So y equals 12. And just in case, be careful, you might have to ask for what the distance is between A and T. You just have to plug y back in. And that's for side lengths. You could also find angle measures. So we know that these two sides are congruent and these two sides are congruent and this makes a 90. So all of those are 90-degree angles. This angle matches up with W, so this is 50 degrees. This angle has to be 40 degrees because this is a triangle right here. 90 plus 50 plus 40 equals 180, and the other side has to be 40 as well. If we know this is 32, then this is 32. And then now we have this triangle, adds up to 180, so this one right here has to be 58, which makes this 58. Now so y has to be 7 because these two sides are congruent. Z has to be 3 because these two sides are congruent. And we know that this pair of opposite angles are congruent. So we're going to do 3x plus 4 equals 112. So 3x equals 108. Divide both sides by 3. So 3 times 33 is 99. I need 9 more, so this is 134x. And then down here, just more applications of angles. I know that all of these make a 90, so I write right away. And this one's kind of hard to tell, but where these two congruent segments meet and these two, this one is a perpendicular bisector. So these two are cut in half. So these two segments are congruent. So therefore, this angle is 35, the opposite one's 35. This angle is 60, this angle is 60. This one has to be 30 because this is a 30, 60, 90 right here, and this has to be 30. And then now I have to figure out R. So R is going to be 180 minus 35 minus 90. So this is 55 degrees. And then down here, I should have wrote in that this is a kite like this. That these two opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles are congruent. And now in order to find y, I don't know that this is 110. I have to do 360 minus 110 minus 184. So that's going to be 176 minus 110 is 66. Okay, now trapezoids. Trapezoids, exactly one pair of opposite sides parallel. So down here, why would A and D be supplementary? A and D are same side interior angles. So these two angles add up to 180. These two angles add up to 180. Now in isosceles trapezoids, the trapezoid wherever you have the two sides that are parallel, the opposite sides of those are congruent. And it makes the base angles congruent as well. So these two angles are congruent. So you can use that to solve problems. So if I know that this is a trapezoid, then these two have to add up to 180. So x has to be 85. These two angles have to add up to 180, so this has to be 60 degrees. And then this one's an isosceles trapezoid. These two add up to 180, so this is 65 degrees. And then the base angles have to be congruent, so this has to be 65 degrees and this has to be 115. Excuse me. And then these two sides are congruent, so you would do 2w plus 1 equals w plus 15. So w equals 14. And then over to the left, you have an isosceles trapezoid markings. So this has to be 50 degrees. This has to be 50 degrees. This down here is an isosceles triangle. So to figure out what A is, you do 180 minus 130, which is 50 degrees, and then cut it in half. So this is 25 and this is 25.